Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today I am here with my sandwich, about to eat the heck out of that sandwich. That's right, let's eat the heck out of this sandwich. Today I'm going to be answering some common questions that I seem to find all the time about Ponytown. These questions range from how the heck can I report a player, or how the heck does muting work, or even simple things, or at least things that I personally find simple, such as how do I remove that there wall. So these questions and more are things that I see all the time, and in today's video I want to go over all those questions, answer as many of them as possible, and of course ask all of you for even more common questions, things that you hear all the time, because I will of course get to them eventually and make another video on this subject. I've done this a long time ago where I answered some common questions. If you're curious of it, I'll put it in the top right corner, or maybe I'll put it in the end screen card or anything like that. But without further ado, let's start with how the heck do I report a player? To report a player, keep in mind that this little situation here might change in the future. Hopefully it does. Hopefully we'll get a proper report button in the future. But to report a player, you have to simply just go to a random player. Let's say this player here. I want to report this player because of whatever reason. All you have to do is click on them or tap on them if you're in mobile. Press this little icon here that comes up under their player card. That's what this is called. This is called a player card. You can click on that thing there, and then you can obviously send them whispers, add them to friends, invite them to party. You can ignore the player, which is sort of the muting thing and stuff like that, which I'll explain later. It's the same thing with hiding players and stuff like that. What you want to do to report them is you want to hide them permanently. Don't hide them for 24 hours, because in 24 hours, if you know your report wasn't caught up to in time because they're working on other reports and stuff like that, then you won't be able to go through your thing and stuff like that. So just hide them permanently. Just press that single button there. It'll ask you if you're sure, and then you can hit yes, I am sure. And now we can go hide away somewhere so that people don't recognize me, and we can go back here to the about page on the main menu. You can leave the game and go over here to the about page. You'll see this email right here. You're gonna want to copy that email. You can hit Control C on your keyboard, or just however you want to copy it. Maybe you can just type it in, whatever. That's fine. But once you do that, once you know where the email is, you can go up here to your account, up here in the top right, press this, go to account settings. Scroll down, you'll find hidden players. It will load. Here's the player that we just hid a few seconds ago, and it will even tell you that it never expires, or it will tell you the amount of time left or whatever like that. So we can of course unhide them, which I promise I will do by the end of this video. But what you want to do is you want to sort of get that name and also make sure it is in your hidden players list. You might want to also grab your account ID. I don't know necessarily if you need that, but you might want to go ahead and grab that if you're asked for it or anything like that. But once you have all of that information gathered, you can then of course return to the about page if you didn't save that email, and then email this account with player reports, and then like whatever they did, I guess that's what you can call the email. And in your email, include the name of the person that you reported, include your account ID, which is this thing right here. You can copy that very easily, and then of course tell them that you've hid them permanently so that they can find it on your permanent hidden players list. So they will be able to find it from your hidden players list, because they'll be able to go to your account, look at that on there and be like, okay, that's the player. They will then investigate the issue, and if your report is genuine, then that player will be punished either by a mute or by a permanent ban or suspension or any of these little things like that. So that's how you can report players. I've made a video before on how to report players, but they kind of changed the system a little bit, because you used to be able to message them on Discord, but they changed it so they can't do that anymore. But it is what it is, and hopefully it'll change in the future to be a little bit easier and a little bit better, and way easier to understand and things like that. So moving on with things that I get common questions about all the time, and that of course is, how do I whisper or talk in party chat? Well, of course, if we return to the docs and find a random person here, this person here was trying to talk to me a minute ago, we can do like I said before, click on them, and then we can just hit send whisper, and it will start sending them whispers. This person's gonna be very confused at why I just said that. And then of course, if you invite them to the party, which I will invite them to the party now and see if they join. I doubt they're already in a party. But you can invite random people to a party. Don't do that, by the way. I'm just gonna invite this random person on my friends list. They're already in a party. All right. Well, it doesn't seem like anyone wants to join my party. Will this person join my party? Join my party, because I want to explain this. They're already in a party too. Why is everyone in a party? All right, that's fine. Essentially, all you have to do to talk in party chat is whenever you open up your chat like this, it'll look something like this where it says say. You can click this once and it will switch to party, and then you can click it again and it will switch back to the regular say. If you are a Patreon supporter like I am, then it will switch between supporter text, regular text, and things like that. But if you are in a party, all you have to do is click that little thing in the bottom left corner and you will start talking in party chat. You'll know it will be party chat because this icon will say party and your text will also be blue. Just be sure to, toggle that on and off as needed, because sometimes you might say something in party that you meant to say in public. So just keep that in mind, and let's move on to the next thing. The next common question that I get all the time, or at least I don't really get this question all the time. I see this question a lot of the times, but the question is, how does muting work? Muting is one of the things that can happen to you if you're reported and they find issues with you or whatever like that, and they decide to punish you by muting you or whatever like that. Essentially, this mute basically means that you can see players, you can interact with, well, you can't really interact with them, but you can see players and move around them and try to talk to them and everything like that, but they cannot talk to you. You're basically invisible to all other players. The muting punishment, I guess is what we're going to call it. The muting punishment will change based on the severity of what you did to deserve that punishment. This is something they do sometimes if they don't want to ban you or if they don't want to suspend you and things like that. So muting can sometimes happen to you, but you can also choose to mute players in a very similar way. So for example, let's go up to this random player here. They have a sandwich. Only I'm allowed to have sandwiches, which means I have to mute them now. You can do this. All you have to do is click them like before, click this, and you can hit ignore player. What this means is that you will not receive that player's messages. So I can hit this ignore player thing, and this player is now muted. No matter what they say, I will never get any of their messages. How it works is once you do that, anything they say will not appear above their head like this person's word appeared above their head. So you can sort of ignore players, sort of mute them so that they don't bother you. This is sort of a loose hidden thing because, obviously I can click on them and I can choose to hide the player or, hide the player permanently or whatever like that. But you can also ignore the player and, of course, unignore the players, which is what I'm going to do now. But that is sort of how muting works. Now, muting by a mod essentially does the same thing, but it does it to everyone, and you have no control over how that works. It's just a part of you now. You're stuck like that forever. Well, not forever, until the punishment is over. So moving on to the third thing. That's right, the third thing on this list of things that I get common questions about all the time. I don't know what the fuck I just said. But the third thing on this list of common questions is, how do I remove that there wall? Well, to remove that there wall, such as this... To remove that there wall, such as this fence right here, all you have to do is, of course, equip a saw. Make sure you switch to the exact same type of wall. So this is a fence, a regular fence. It's not a dark fence. It is just a regular fence. All you have to do is make sure you equip the exact same thing, and then of course you can click and drag. Once you click and drag, it will remove the whole thing. Now, if you are on mobile, you have to tap, and it is a lot more finicky and is a lot more difficult to do, but it works exactly the same way. Just make sure you equip the same type of wall that you're trying to remove and just go over it and it will remove it. It will also glow red, telling you that, yes, this is indeed going to remove those walls. So that is how that works. The last thing on this list, that's right, we're already at the last thing on this list. The last thing on this list is something that I get questions about every now and again. It's not a super common thing that I see, but I do see it enough that I figured I'd go ahead and address it in this video. And that question is, how the heck do actions work? Well, actions are these things here at the bottom of the screen. I can, of course, sit whenever I want, stand whenever I want, make this face whenever I want, make this face whenever I want. I can even yawn whenever I want and do things like that. I can, of course, reset my expressions. How does this work? How can you organize this, set this up, and everything like that? Well, it is very simple. You can, of course, press this gear icon here in the top right corner and then hit actions right there. But you can, of course, hit this gear icon at the bottom of your screen, which is edit actions. And both of those things that I just showed you do the exact same thing. It'll bring you to the same exact thing. You have some default actions here, which are just basic stuff like crying and blushing and things like that, that you would be more likely to do than the other things. There's also building actions, such as switching tools, loading maps, and saving maps, and, different stuff like that. I don't ever really mess with any of these, but they are there if you want them. And, of course, there's expressions. With With expressions, you can customize any kind of expression you want. And of course, there's an Easter egg where you can boop your character. But the way this works is very similar to the character editor. You just make a little face. You can see a preview of it right here as well as down here. And you can make whatever face you want. Let's say we want to do this face, and then we'll do like this or whatever like that. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. It's crying now too. It's also sleeping. Is sleeping and crying and making all kinds of weird faces and stuff. I don't understand, but we can combine all these actions. We can even go to pupils and match the pupils, so some of the pupils can be, you know, left eye and right eye, and change between those and stuff like that. Once you're complete with all of your actions, you can of course take this thing right here, and it quite literally lays it out for you. Drag this action to the action bar, or drag this icon to the action bar. You just grab that. You can hold it by clicking it, or you can hold it with your thumb and then bring it to one of these empty slots, or you can move it in between any of the ones you want and then let go of it, and it will now forever be there until you decide that you don't want it on there anymore. You of course have some options here. You can export these actions and it will put it into a little text file, and then you can import them later so that you can play with these as much as you want. You can of course clear your action bar, undo whatever the thing I just did was. I guess it didn't undo that, but you can reset to default actions and all of that jazz. You can do whatever you want with it. Now, let's say I don't want these actions anymore. It is very simple. All I have to do is do the exact same thing as I did before, except in reverse. Let's go to our actions, find the action I don't want, which in this case will be the one that I just recently grabbed. We'll just grab it again, hold it, and hover it into this black area. It's slightly darker than this area down here. Just hover it up there and then let go. Now that action is deleted forever until I recreate it. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this one too to show you again. We just grab it and go over here. If you change your mind halfway, then just bring it right back and you'll be fine. So that's how that works, and of course you can rearrange these as much as you want. So that pretty much does it for the video. There is not any other common questions that I get a lot of that I can really answer right now. So if you have any common questions that you see all the time, then let me know in the comments below, and mayhaps I'll make another video about those questions. And for now, that's going to do it for the video, like I said, so I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that, because when you do those wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful. By the way, to prove to you I'm going to unhide this player, I'm going to do it right now. Boom, they are unhidden. I think. Do I need to refresh it now? Yep, there it goes.